I think that we are missing the fundamentals of well-being. And, if we don't have the fundamentals, which we can talk about, we can easily feel as if we are incapable of doing the most, for some people, the most mundane tasks, like waking up in the morning. We just don't feel a sense of energy. And I don't know if we can say that some people use it as an excuse. I'm sure, there may be, but I think that people are genuinely struggling with the most simple, basic aspects of just being human and experiencing living. And the fundamentals of well-being, we go right back to the foundation of oneself, which is firstly our diet. We need to look at, the diet, what we take into our body. That plays a very, very important role, because food is medicine in terms of our diet and our food and what we take in. And when I speak about food, it's not only what we take in through, we digest with food, but also what we take in from what we read, what we see, what we smell, all our senses. We are human beings where we are taking in from our environment, and that plays a role. So food, of course, is a fundamental, our diet, because there's so much that we need to look at in terms of our nutrition and how it relates to mental health. And then, of course, we need to look at our sleep. People are struggling in terms of sleep, and the body calls for that rest. It's the one place where we feel nourished and nurtured and rejuvenated, and sleep is certainly a health crisis. More and more people are finding it difficult to sleep, and that's a fundamental of well-being. If you're trying to attend to a task and you haven't had a good sleep, you are going to try and avoid the task. You're going to feel a lack of concentration, a lack of focus. You're going to feel incapable in some way or another. So that's another crisis on its own. The next simple thing is just movement of the body. Simple, that most people are trying to sort of take shortcuts on. And we need to move this vehicle that carries everything in us, the vehicle as in the body. We need to honor and nurture the body. And when we move it, that really helps us in terms of, releasing chemicals that are so good for our bodies. There's so much research on the importance of movement in our bodies for our mental well-being. But so often people see it as a chore. So they become goal-directed in terms of exercising, that they are not even really connecting with their bodies. It's just another tick box. And we cannot certainly become mentally well when we're trying to tick box things. Often also, I get asked to do talks and workshops, and it's like, let's talk about mental well-being and let's cut it within an hour. But the reality is that we need an ongoing conversation to really see change. Because let's face it, there's enough information out there. We can Google, walk into a bookstore. There's enough information about everything, every topic. We are in the information age, knowledge at our disposal. So the bigger question, if there's so much knowledge and so much information out there, why are we still struggling? And that's a question that we need to look deeply together. Because when it comes to mental health, if you look at the word mental illness starts with the word I. But in order to get to the place of mental wellness, we need a sense of we. And that means a greater, bigger picture. We need to look at our societies, the well-being of our societies, the well-being of our communities, and it starts with ourselves. I think that we need to, as I say, go back to the basics and look at our foundations. I mentioned 3 of the basic fundamentals of well-being, but another one is, of course, just practicing gratitude and connecting with our nature. There's so much we can learn from nature around us. There's so much order in nature, and we can just stop and pause and embrace simple pleasures in life. I think it's a start to experiencing that energized self. Because if we do not feel energized in our bodies, we're not going to feel energized in our mind. So the simple start is, if you are needing help, seek out the help. communicate, be okay, become comfortable with the uncomfortable. I think that so many people sit with fear of how they will be seen or how will they be viewed if they seek out help. But, it's about putting yourself in a position where you can be vulnerable and speak about it. We need that sense of sharing because we need empathy, we need compassion for each other. But it starts with also having compassion with yourself before we can even build compassion on a more bigger global scale.
And last episode you spoke about everything is related, relationships between everything. So this actually reminded me of that when you said the three basics. That's the food, sleep, and exercise. And you also mentioned nature with it.
Yes.
So yes, very very true. Because it cannot be just one thing. It's a mixture